Hello everyone. Welcome to another daily reading. It's so good to have you with us, following along whenever possible. My wish is that God's blessing be upon your life, your home, and your family. Today, our daily reading is from the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verses 12 to 16. Let's read the passage. The text says, "From then on, Pilate tried to set Jesus free, but the Jewish leaders kept shouting, 'If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar.' When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judge's seat at a place known as the Stone Pavement, which in Aramaic is Gabbatha. Thought it was the day of preparation of the Passover. It was about noon. 'Here's your king,' Pilate said to the Jews. But they shouted, 'Take him away. Take him away. Crucify him.' 'Shall I crucify your king?' Pilate asked. 'We have no king but Caesar,' the chief priests answered. Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified. In these verses we read in chapter 19, we see the final moments of Jesus' trial before Pilate, followed by his crucifixion. After questioning Jesus and finding no basis for any charge against him, Pilate tries to release him. However, the pressure from the Jewish leaders and the threat of being reported to Caesar lead Pilate to give in. There are some important points we can observe here. First, the innocence of Jesus. Pilate himself recognizes it. Yet, as we have already said, he yields to the pressure from the Jewish leaders. This clearly shows the injustice and evil present in that trial. However, we must not forget God's sovereignty. Even in the midst of injustice and cruelty, God's sovereignty prevails, because it was part of God's plan for the redemption of humanity that Jesus be delivered into the hands of men to be crucified and killed. Another point that draws our attention is the rejection of Jesus. The Jewish leaders rejected Jesus as the Messiah and declared loyalty to Caesar. But we also see human responsibility. Pilate was responsible for his decision to condemn Jesus. This shows us that each person will be accountable for their choices and will give an account before God. Finally, we see the spiritual blindness of the Jewish leaders who did not recognize Jesus as the Messiah sent by God. But we know he is the Messiah, the Christ, the Savior.